To paraphrase Michelle Obama, when others go small, we go big. When others think small, we need to think bigger. And the arts enable us to do just that, to think bigger. And I think they do it in three particular ways. Firstly, to help us find the courage within each of us to see reality and the world as it really is, to say the unsaid, and to challenge. The arts are also brilliant at helping unlock our imaginations, to see different opportunities, new possibilities. And finally, the arts are all about inspiration. Inspiration to be the best we can be, but also to help others be the best they can be, and to bring other people along as well, to be as diverse as possible. So these are three great gifts almost that the arts give us in society. Our work centres around bringing the arts into business, and all those qualities are available to business. But Andrea Zafirakou is bringing it into schools. So Andrea won the Global Teacher Prize winner of 2018, and with that extraordinary triumph, created the Artist in Residence Foundation, which brings artists into schools to work with young people. So, Andrea, tell me what drove you to set up the foundation.
I was very cross that in our particular situation in this country that our government were not doing as much. And what I think mostly inspired me was my students, the fact that I could see so much talent in them, and they wanted to take up the arts, but they didn't have the confidence to go to their parents, and their parents would say to them, but what subjects for the arts, what job career can you get, what can you do with this? And so the fact that a child learns so much from a role model, by bringing the role models, the artists, the practitioners, into the school, into their world, working with them for a small period of time, but seeing that wonderful chemistry, seeing that young person be inspired themselves, that's why I'm doing it. And I'm here to help other schools, I'm here to help our young people. And I gain such a great sense of satisfaction and pleasure by knowing that I am doing something positive to help students and schools out there.
So, of course, the arts have lots of qualities to them, whether it's about memorizing lines or singing in a group or dancing in a group, and that whole thing of collaboration. Are there particular examples that you have of where you think the arts are incredibly powerful for all young minds, whether they want to be an artist or not?
I think what I've noticed through teaching all these years in the art room is the fact that students appreciate the journey which they experience, and that journey could be a journey that could be quite challenging. So being able to draw something in perspective, being able to draw an accurate still life, being able to apply paint accurately, these are really good learning skills which they undertake. And there is a sense of mastering there as well, and time control and resilience, because they will go through that, oh miss, that's not good, I'm going to, and you're like, no, carry on, persevere, let's work on this piece of work. And that brings them so much more confidence. And that's the one word that we always get, confidence, 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 confidence. I feel more confident, miss. And what happens to the students who do take the arts is that not only do they become confident, which is really, we can't underestimate that word confidence for a young person. But what it also does them, it gives them that sense of achievement. I created that. And I may not be good at English, or I may not have the best results in science or maths, but oh my God, that work is just as good as that child over there. And I think that sense of ownership, pride, and also quite resilient as well. So the fact that they went through, they tried, they persevered. These are skills which unfortunately don't exist in many other subjects these days. And by enabling our students to go on that journey of discovery, to experiment, to take risks, to have their work celebrated is really, really important to them.
And do you think this idea of confidence, which I totally agree with you about the arts, can be translated into other aspects of their lives?
Quite simply, the answer is yes.
Yeah.
For example, I teach a young man who finds it very difficult to engage in a subject, in any of the subjects, for an hour. He's mostly spends his time in the corridor because he has a timeout card, because he really gets quite frustrated. However, through perseverance and him just mastering a technique, he gets into his zone. He now is in his zone. And what you find is that now his other teachers, his maths teachers, his history teachers are saying, I've noticed an extreme transformation in this young man's behaviour. He's now able to engage in our lessons too. Now, when you hear that word, that this child has now been able to engage in other lessons, then that's absolutely job done.
And I think the whole thing about the arts also is about stories and storytelling. And of course, you can tell stories very directly, and you can tell stories indirectly, whether it's through metaphor or similes, or through something like a meal or a fragrance, and smelling something and the memories that come from that. Do you find that storytelling and the telling of stories is an important part of what you do?
Absolutely. And what you're doing, you're taking them on a journey, on a kind of an imaginary space, and you're inspiring them. And I think that's the beauty of what our subjects can do. We're just planting a seed and then nurturing it to grow, and seeing where the students then take that in their own direction. I think that's really important. The storytelling part is beautiful. And also the visual language and the literacy, which our subjects help to promote, that's quite a huge strength in our subject.
And I think another thing is that for any one of us who engage in the arts is that little moment of courage to pick up the brush, to stand and sing with somebody else, to move and dance in the same formation, whatever it is. You need a little bit of just step out of your comfort zone and be the first one to make a mark on a page and so on. So the arts also, along with confidence, along with inspiration and imagination, need those little moments of courage, which you celebrate, of course. Yeah.
Absolutely. And let's not forget joy.
Yeah.
And happiness, and what it's like to just be lost in a world of creativity and peace and imagination, and sometimes that's what our young people need now more than ever, that moment of mindfulness, of just being in their own zone. And again, they get lost, and you've had the best lesson and they've enjoyed it when you say to them, right, it's time to clear up, and then you hear a big loud, oh, miss, I'm not finished yet, and you're like, right, great. Great, they could be here for the whole day, and they would love that. So that for me is a wonderful feeling.
Do you know, one of my first jobs was doing this piece of work at Unilever, and I remember I had a motto in my head, which was, I didn't know what I couldn't do. In fact, I could do anything. And I think that's what the arts offer for particularly young minds.
Absolutely.
There's no right or wrong, you can express yourself. There's no boundaries.
Absolutely. And everything can be celebrated. And I think that's wonderful as well, because something is, we don't celebrate enough, I think, in schools. I think just to remind ourselves of that, and how, every piece of work is different and unique and can be and should be appreciated. That's very important for a young person too.
And this is our link, because I totally agree with that in any form of work or business. We don't celebrate the individual achievements, and creativity in the arts is so much about one's own identity. I mean, we're surrounded by beautiful works of art in this room of yours, and this is a person making a statement, expressing themselves, saying this is a little bit of me, and this is of course what the arts can do in education, hopefully in business as well.
I hope so too, yeah.
Thank you.